Okay, so we're back on, I think this is turn 6. It's another 34-minute window of commands. We still have the engineers moving down to Wolfenbüttel, and well, to the southern end of the map. They are blowing 2 bridges here to keep this side of the river from the Soviets, so they can't push around this way. The artillery, so the changes I've made for this turn is artillery and reconnaissance, and also the armour line. So what we'd had in the previous turn was A Squadron, or the remnants of A Squadron, are pulling back to a line here alongside. You can just about make out B Squadron, which is our back line. C Squadron's remaining in Wolfenbüttel with the mechanised infantry. What we now have for the artillery is the units that were previously supporting the reconnaissance directly. They are now open to calls from anybody because we no longer have any sightings in this area. I feel like the reconnaissance has done its job, so they are pulling back to the wood block here alongside the actual 2nd Royal Tank Regiment's command headquarters. I think we moved a couple of the air defence units, so they are moving to support A Squadron, and these are moving to get out of the front line as we're moving. I think that, well, we can see these 2 victory point locations have been captured by the Soviets. We still hold the one down here, and it says we still hold this one up here. I think in all likelihood that is going to be taken. And then once this has all happened, I suppose it is a case of, can we counterattack to retake these 2 from, I'd probably say, looking at the health of the units, C Squadron, if anything, or potentially B Squadron. But on that, let's have a quick look at what's the best way to look. I suppose firstly, that's just reiterating what's going on. So there's been this sort of northwesterly push by the Soviets. You can just about make out that our line is now falling back to this L shape here, and that the engineers are skewing it slightly because there's a big old line here and whatnot for these spread out units. Sit reps. So there are a few cases where A Squadron has been battered. Effectively, they've lost 3 troops of tanks in the fighting in the centre of the map. I think similar problem happened with the, where is here we go. So the Queen's Dragoon Guards, so 4 of their units lost, and the remnants are falling back to the northwest. Otherwise we're not looking too bad, so most of these units are okay. We've lost, what's this? So is this a tank troop? Yeah, it looks like a tank troop's gone there. Yeah, and in some cases, so if we can get this as an example, I think A Squadron's a good one to look at. Will it let me see if I do that? There you go. So we can see it's basically saying what this says here anyway, but 2 vehicles are just lost and 1 has fallen out, so requires repairs. All 3 have fallen out. 1's destroyed, 1's fallen out, and we lost the Fox sort of liaison vehicle in the headquarters. Like I said, B Squadron, C Squadron's not looking too bad, but they did lose an entire troop in their area. We lost one scimitar on the very first turn. Yeah, Queen's Dragoon Guards took a bit of a battering in their position. But I suppose what we want to see to make us feel less hurt is we've taken 40 vehicles destroyed or fallen out. They've taken 122 of some form, whether that is the 48 tanks or the, what are we up to now? 8 helicopters now. Yeah. So not too bad. Anything that's going to change this turn. So still looks like we're on high interference from electronic warfare. No change expected in weather. And that's still the direction of travel we think they're heading. Is there anything useful here? Let's try and do this. So if I do that and I put it over here, 6, 5, 4. Oh, that's an interesting one. So that is scooting around this direction that we were worried about. I'm not sure where that's flashing. I can't see anything. Maybe it's slightly off. Oh, it's way back here. Okay. Artillery's still being spotted there. 2 units on the 1,000. Backed up by 1 to 5 tanks in the woods. Another 1 to 5 tanks plus engineers and APCs slightly down there. That's the engineers. More engineers. More engineers. Yeah, where's the tanks then? Tanks there. Yeah, there's a hefty old unit here. Oh, alright. So maybe this... That unit I said was... Uh-oh, something's coming here. No, it's the helicopters again that were still over here. But anyway. Anything to check? I think we've talked through everything. Artillery has gone on call or to resupply. Units are falling back into this shape. They're going to pull back. Engineers are going to blow some bridges. Oh, let's commit. 34 turns, 34 minutes, here we go. Now this might go a bit quicker because we've broken contact with the enemy and it is now the maneuver game in the background. It's not the fighting game, it's the movement game in the background. So yeah, it is flying through the turn. We might have to do 2 turns in this one. Good, so they've resupplied. Good. Continue to inflict casualties. Yeah, keep it coming. So yeah, much quicker turn this. We are 17 minutes in. Less combat, more maneuver. That was another interesting thing I found talking... Another interesting thing I'd found talking about strategy and tactics and whatnot. And there's this game, don't recall what it was called, but it was another Cold War type board game, hex game, which I think, as we were talking through it, there was this sort of realization where I said, so really the game is primarily focused on staying out of contact as long as possible. So postponing the deployment of your units for as long as possible so that they can get as far as possible before having to deploy into attack formations, for instance, and engage in combat there. 3 minutes and we've only done a 10-minute video here, so I think we might squeeze a second. Yeah, we might squeeze a second turn in. We will check the report first. It's whether they have decided to consolidate and call it a day on their objectives, or if we're going to see a second push. What's 8? Some kind of... it looks like there's some kind of headquarters here. Nice little tight unit at the back there. So I'm tempted to call in just a little strike on there. But if we go to the ops briefing. So yeah, it's settling down somewhat. I can't tell if that's contested, these 2 victory points. This one, oh, it's out on a limb. Nobody seems to be there right now. I'm intrigued by this enemy here. This feels like a... Well, here we go. So it's estimated at what's 3 dashes. Company... What is it? 3 dashes. This seems like a juicy target up here, and I'm tempted to bombard this area because of it. I'm going to pause the video though and go try and remind myself what the NATO symbology is for 3 dashes. 1 second. Hello again. Right, went away and checked. This is regiment level, I believe. The 2 dashes is battalion or squadron. 1 dash is company, and the 3 dots that you can see, you'd have to go to the lower level, but the 3 dots is a platoon, which I've got wrong previously. I know that in the Goodwood video, because of the way British being British, where, hang on, we should even try and find Royal Tank Regiment. But Royal Tank Regiment will come up as there. So it's this one here. Regiment, 2 dashes. Tank Battalion. Yeah. Okay, right. So where is that? What to do? First of all, I'm going to check the... Okay, so we've got a few command range issues. That was the one that we said was going to be right on the edge because the HQ was down here. The engineers are all breaking away from their headquarters to go and do engineer stuff, but they're going to form back up over here. So I'm not too worried about that for the time being. They have their orders, they're going to come back. Munitions. Nothing is that desperate just yet. And can we have a peek at this? Will this help us? Check the tank squadron. So 98%. I'm checking the ammunition now quickly. So 100, 100, 100. They're all looking happy. Pretty much there. I think it would highlight if people needed rearmament. Yeah, as it stands, we are looking good for the stuff that isn't destroyed. They are, which ones are these? Do a quick check. I would like you to resupply to 100% now. I think we gave them a delayed order so that we could try and get some armaments done, but it was a bit of a best effort. I think we'll get them rearming. Everyone else looks good. How are the artillery stocked up? They're on 57. That could do with rearming. I think I'll get them to rearm. It'll only take 16 minutes. 16 minutes to rearm them. Yeah, these all look in similar states. But once they are rearmed, I do want them to take a pop at, I think it's this one, isn't it? So just on this K1 road here. Remember that. Who isn't rearming right now? Let's check that quick. Rest and resupply. Drop that bombardment. They are currently on. That's who we'll use. There you go. I think that's a silly one. Should really... No, we will do that. So they will barrage this area, and I think they are set in their orders to move after each fire mission. I was going to do one fire mission that was this long, so this many rounds, but if you do it as 6, I think it will fire 30, move, fire 30, move, fire 30, move, instead of doing, 90 or another 9, instead of doing it that way, it moves between each barrage. That seems safer. We'll go with that. Right. 30 minutes. I think we'll do that, see where we get to, and then call it there. Because I reckon I hope this will be a simple one where we all calm down for a second. We let the reconnaissance come back through and break to here. We let the engineers do their bridging work here and meet back up here. Yep, they're still doing that. And then we consider the counterattack onto these 2 points. Is that a doable thing? We'll find out once we see the intelligence picture. Will it still be doable if we're blowing these bridges? Maybe not on this side of the river, but potentially on this side. But that is open ground. We'll tackle it when we come to that. Ooh, go. So the artillery is beginning to fall on where we think enemy headquarters is. I think the test to this will be if their command cycle increases. So at the moment we're both on 31-minute turn cycle, slightly offset from each other. Uh-oh. Ooh, don't like that. So that drew some fire from across the ochre as the engineers were trying to rush in. But that also identified them, so we're returning fire against them. Not good for that engineer unit. They're down a utility vehicle. Which potentially means that we're going to have some fallen out units as they're on foot now. We'll see that in a sec then. There's another vehicle lost. Oh. Now I'm worried that the remaining engineers are just walking into the same issue here. Could we have got them to go that way? Don't know. Ideally what we need is smoke, but we only have high explosives. So I wouldn't mind a bit of smoke there if I'm honest, looking at these poor guys. I think that's the other problem with having everybody rest and rearm is no one's on call to drop artillery on this, which means that has just gone wrong, basically, hasn't it? Yeah, this is going to be a disaster. Here come the helicopters again. Hopefully we now have our air defence slightly more sorted. We'll find out in a sec. Yep, that's nice. Yep, we like to see that. Not so scary now that we've got our air defence sorted. Ouch. I'm pleased with the surface-to-air missiles. Because they're just falling like flies right now. But the tanks are absolutely battering the engineers. I'm glad I sent the guys in Bedfords instead of the there's armoured vehicles, but they are not actually, I mean, they're just lightly armoured vehicles. They're not designed to take tank rounds. Now, I did see over on the left the artillery. Here we go, please fire now. No. That's just continuation of this nonsense. I did see that one of them had become resupplied, so I'm hoping they go on call and can do something. But I don't think these bridges are getting blown this game, if I'm honest. I think that idea of a counter-attack might have gone out the window as well. Ouch. Oof. And I think that may have been... Yeah, that was the headquarters unit for the infantry. So they've now been rolled into C Squadron. Last 3 minutes of the turn. Oh, don't fire there. Come on. Down here. Oh, what a disaster. Two minutes. This is probably a very bad start to the campaign. It feels like this is a mess, if I'm honest, and it feels like I think the SOP's management for these units is poor on my behalf. I don't think they should be set to do or die. I think they should know when to withdraw if they're being fired on. Because I need them, basically. I think that engineer unit's done for as well. Oh god. And that's now C Squadron. Well, that was very bad, and it's got so bad that you've just seen this went from those colours to white, which I think now means they fall directly under the command of... Has that put them directly under the command of? Potentially. Oof! I think C Squadron might have rolled all the way into... well, it doesn't look like it. It looks like they've still got command, but they have turned white, which to me feels like that's because they've gone to Royal Tank Regiment. Speechless. Okay. I will stop the video there and come up with something.